Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Marina Grosu from Washington, D.C. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The Holy See Press Office has announced the travel plans for Pope Francis's visit to Portugal from August 2nd to 6th for the 37th World Youth Day. On the first day, the Holy Father's plane with journalists will arrive at the Figo Maduro Airport. He will make courtesy visits to the President and the Prime Minister of the Republic. On the second day, the Pope will meet with students at the Catholic University of Portugal. He will then participate in the World Youth Day's opening ceremony at Edward VII Park. The following day, the Holy Father will hear the confessions of some of the participants at the Plaza del Imperio. He will also join the youngsters for lunch and participate in the Way of the Cross. Pope Francis will then visit the Marian Sanctuary of Fatima, where he will lead the Holy Rosary with sick young people. The Holy Father will preside over the concluding Mass on August 6th at the Park Tejo before returning to Rome. In Russian-controlled Ukraine, thousands of people are being evacuated from areas downstream of a large dam that has been destroyed. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said 80 towns and villages could be inundated as a result of Russia's destruction of the Nova Kakhovka dam. A catastrophic risk of flooding is reportedly present for the city of Kherson as water is flowing down the Dnieper River. Russia, which controls the dam, has denied any hand in destroying it. On the other hand, Moscow has accused Kyiv's troops of bombing the dam. According to Deputy Prosecutor General Victoria Litvinova, 40,000 people must be evacuated, including 17,000 in areas under Ukrainian control west of the Dnieper River and 25,000 in areas under Russian control. Sudan's warring military factions have intensified fighting after the truce brokered by the USA and Saudi Arabia expired. However, there are reports that the warring military and the paramilitary rapid support forces are restarting ceasefire talks sponsored by the United States and Saudi Arabia. Renewed clashes were reported in the capital, Khartoum, and in another region in the west after the truce expired. In the 8th week of the conflict between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, citizens have been caught in the crossfire, losing access to essential services and contributing to the rise of anarchy. More than 1.2 million people have been evacuated from Khartoum, and over 400,000 civilians have been forced to seek safety beyond Sudan's borders. At least 175,000 people have traveled to Egypt, and many of them have encountered days-long or even weeks-long delays in border villages with scant amenities. Prior to the anniversary of the overturning of Roe v. Wade by the U.S. Supreme Court, a Catholic bishop has come out with a statement explaining how it started a new stage in the defense of human life. Bishop Michael Burbidge of Arlington, the chairman of the U.S. Episcopate's Committee on Pro-Life Activities, issued the statement prior to the first annual anniversary of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The bishop said the work that lies ahead continues to be not just changing laws, but also helping to change hearts with steadfast faith in the power of God to do so. He asked the faithful to extend a compassionate hand to all who are suffering in the aftermath of participation in abortion. It was on June 24th last year that the top court of the country overturned Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization case. A Catholic advocacy group in the United States has started a radio ad campaign seeking the boycott of the so-called Pride Night hosted by the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball team. The Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights is launching the drive because the homosexual event will feature a pre-game ceremony that honors the anti-Catholic organization so-called Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. The advocacy group is running 25 ads on KABC AM for 5 consecutive days. Through the ads, the Catholic League is appealing to fans to stay away from Dodger Stadium on June 16th to send an unmistakable message that bigotry against Catholics cannot be tolerated. The organization is an anti-Catholic group whose members dress up as nuns and parody Christian beliefs in public shows promoting homosexuality. The Catholic group wants fans to boycott the event to send a clear message to the entire baseball league. Less than a week after removing blasphemous organization from their event lineup, the Dodgers sent a renewed invitation to the group on May 22nd after the team was pressured by homosexual and civil rights organizations. Healthcare experts have warned that Canada's medical assistance in dying or MAID should be a warning sign for other nations opting to toe the line. During a parliamentary committee hearing, they said the nation has a very aggressive medical delivery system of euthanasia. The experts made their stand clear in the wake of reports of people being offered to end their lives in circumstances when they do not have enough access to social support and care. On Tuesday, a number of experts gave proof to support their arguments before the Health and Social Care Committee's Assisted Dying Inquiry. Psychiatry professor Dr. Scott Kim of the University of Michigan said the MAID law of the nation is not a last resort measure. The senior investigator at the Department of Bioethics at the National Institute of Health in the U.S. told lawmakers that the MAID law itself says assisted dying does not have to be the last resort, adding that it was a disturbing societal norm. A study by the Charlotte Lozier Institute in the United States has revealed that abortion pressure and coercion have reached epidemic proportions across the country. Their survey shows that 70% of women who underwent abortion said the procedure was a result of coercion, pressure, or it was inconsistent with their values. A sizable majority of the women said that they were under pressure from other people in their lives before undergoing an abortion. As much as 87% of women who were surveyed said that they went through some form of interpersonal pressure, reporting a score greater than 0 on one or more of the scales. As much as 62% of respondents said that they experienced modest interpersonal pressure, and it was reflected in a score of 21 or greater. The survey also reveals that 45% of women experience substantial or high levels of pressure from other people in their lives to have an abortion. At least 10 people were killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo by suspected terrorists. News reports indicate that the attack took place last week in a village where most of the victims were in their homes. During the attack at night, the militants also abducted an unknown number of people. Congolese and Ugandan troops were present just 2 miles from the scene of the attack when the incident occurred. Among the dead are 6 men and 4 women. Reports say that the jihadist organization, Allied Democratic Forces, is behind the attack. Since 2019, the Allied Democratic Forces has been affiliated with the Islamic State, and it continues to attack Christian villages in the eastern part of the country. During their raids, they butcher believers, destroy houses and churches, and torch food supplies, vehicles, and hospitals. The European Union is seeking an investigation into the poisoning of primary school girls in the north of Afghanistan. Nearly 80 children were taken to the hospital after being poisoned in 2 separate incidents at schools over the weekend. Teachers and a parent were taken to the hospital with symptoms of poisoning as well. The European Union addressed the poisonings as a heinous crime and called for an investigation. According to the regional governor's office, students of the Kabud Ab school showed symptoms of poisoning on Saturday, and the following day, students at Nazwan Faizbad school were found in the same condition. The head of the provincial education department said that someone with a personal grudge orchestrated the attack. However, the authorities have not provided any further information. The Christian Association of Nigeria is urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure a balanced and diverse appointment of security chiefs and top political positions. Acknowledging the significance of these appointments in guaranteeing the security and well-being of Nigerians, the largest ecumenical Christian organization has urged the head of state to take an active role in making sure that the appointments reflect the diversity of the nation. They expressed their hopes that Tinubu would make use of the opportunity of these appointments to relieve the anxieties of the civilians. The Christian Umbrella Organization added that Nigerians are looking forward to an administration that will rectify the injustices and unfairness of the past. Archbishop Anthony Fisher of Sydney, Australia, has asked Catholics to commit to acknowledging and healing relations with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders as part of the Archdiocese's Reconciliation Action Plan. The Reconciliation Action Plan was introduced at the Paulding Centre by Sydney Auxiliary Bishop Daniel Meagher, Executive Officer of Sydney's Aboriginal Catholic Ministry, Lisa Buxton, and Archdiocesan Justice and Peace Promoter, Father Peter Smith. The priest said that reconciliation requires a change of heart. More than 135,000 Indigenous Catholics live in Australia, out of a total of 813,000, according to the National Centre for Pastoral Research. This represents around 16% of the population. Students of a college under Oxford University in Britain might face expulsion if they refuse to use the so-called preferred gender pronouns of their peers. Regent's Park College introduced the policy that supports the so-called transgender students on June 1st. The strict measure details that not using the so-called preferred gender pronouns of a gender-confused individual will be considered severe and can be reasons for disciplinary action. This policy was unveiled days after a gender ideology critic and former professor faced protests over her stance during an event at the Oxford Union. Brazil is gearing up to build another Catholic monument. An 800-meter mammoth rosary spread across 10 hectares will be built in Rio Grande do Sul, the municipality of Mucum, which is 160 kilometers away from Porto Alegre. Each bead of the Hail Mary will have a chapel that is 5 meters high. Each chapel will be dedicated to a title of Our Lady of a particular nation of which she is the patroness. The 30 million real project is the brainchild of entrepreneur Robinson Gazzotti, who is a huge devotee of the Rosary. On the beads of the Our Father, the mysteries will be narrated and meditated along with mapped projections for devotees to learn about them. The Rosary complex will also include a parking lot, a souvenir shop, a food court, and an artificial lake. At night, the whole edifice will be lit up and it will be visible from afar. Once it is completed, the Rosary Park is expected to be visited by 25,000 people on average every month. And those are your latest headlines. Join us again tomorrow for more. You can also visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.